Alright, so from here we'll have the server selection menu, and once we are logged into our account, we're given a list of servers to pick from. What we're going to be doing for this series is sticking to Seasons 1 through 4. There's also a Seasons PvP server which gives an enhanced drop rate buff, but we won't be most likely touching that server until we're probably full Pen Tuvala, just because you run into instances where people might want to fight you for your spots, and it can just be an unnecessary waste of your time. So we'll probably touch on that a little bit later once we get our character built up a bit, get some power behind us. A couple of things to note for season servers is that as a seasonal character, you can go in and out of season servers, which means you're able to go to these other servers that are available to you. Non-seasonal characters cannot go into season servers. Another benefit with season servers is that players cannot flag up or toggle force PvP, which means they can't just run up and kill you. As a veteran player, that's something you ran into many a times. And also, guild versus guilds are still a thing, albeit fairly limited to what you would normally see on regular servers. And just looking at these servers real quick, so we have a couple of icons to also help kind of show you what servers are what. So you have these little G, it's meant to be like the Black Spirit, kind of looks like an inverted G for the seasonal icon. And then you also have these servers right here. These are for returning adventurers that have the EXP buffs. And then you have these swirling green circles which denote Elvia servers. The difference in Elvia servers is they're meant for higher geared adventurers. There are starting zones that are now turned into endgame zones that can provide a lot of powerful items and enhancements for late game adventuring. So that's not something we're going to worry about right now. We're just going to focus specifically on making our seasonal character and going through our seasonal journey. Alright, so to start off, since this is a brand new account, we're going to go ahead and start with NA Season 1 since it's novice only. And we are basically greeted to selecting our first character. As of right now, you can have a total of 27 characters on your account, so start with making your new character. Yes, we'll get this little pop-up window for a season character, just to kind of advertise, making a season character. So we'll go ahead and create our season character. So here we have the list of characters that you can pick from. There's also a little preview window and a small description on what the characters are designed for. You have right here little combat videos that can show. Right now this is showing the Awakening for Dracania, which just recently released. There's also the main kit, also known as Succession for most classes in the game. And then you get a little diagram right here that kind of tells you the design for what the character is built for. So you see here with Dracania, it's very high attack, mid-range on the control and defense and combo, and then very low on the evasion. So for our seasonals, we're going to be playing the Sage. Sage is my second most experienced class, but it is one class that I've played extensively. As you can see here, Sage is a very high on the attack and moderately high on the control scale, but very low on the defense, or correction, the combo, but very low on the control. It's a fairly easy class to control, not too difficult. So right here we just have little videos again for the class. So we're going to hit create, and then we, at this point, go ahead and get our little customization for our character. We can customize it however we want. We have a variety of options through hair and face and body. You can customize the character basically to your heart's desire. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and skip the editing process and then cut to making the character. Alright, so we finished our customization. We went ahead and gave ourselves a character name, and then just hit the checkbox to see if that name is available. Make sure that you have season checked right here for season character, and then you hit create your character. It'll ask if you just want to go in with this character name and just roll in. So now we have our character, and we hit enter. So this just gives us a quick little configuration for shake effect. For people who are motion sick or sensitive motions from the skill effects, there are quite a lot of them, especially if you adjust it very high or even keep it at the recommended. There are a lot of skills that can cause camera shake. I personally recommend keeping this at 0, just because with camera shake and you're trying to use skills at certain points like casting range skills, that camera shake can cause your skills to move a little bit here and there, so you won't actually be on target for what you're trying to do. So I would say just go ahead and turn it down to 0, hit next. Right here is just after image effects. For some of the others, low. This one's really fine. It doesn't really bother me that I can tell in any way, shape, or form. Certain skills do have these kind of little after effects. I know, for example, Sage has 2 skills in particular that he does. One in his Awakening is his movement dash called Bolt. That has an after image, so we'll keep that one low. And then this right here, we have various navigation types, different types of effects whenever you are pathing to a certain location. So I personally like the Guiding Fairy. It adds a nice little sprite that travels in front of you, and it seems to fit the theme of the game more consistently versus having to say like a little light trail or the arrows. So then we'll just go ahead and go through next. Game visual quality. This of course will be typically detected automatically based on the type of machine that you have. Because I already have game settings from my previous account for this, it's just going off of what's already saved onto my computer, so we'll just hit next. And then low power option, I typically keep this off. Low power option is only for really if you need it. I can't really say there's a situation where it's worth having low power option on. It says it'll improve frame rate, but it's kind of, I'll be honest, it's just kind of hard to say. So we'll just go ahead and run through all these options. And now we will basically start the intro. So with this right here is a new starting introduction to the game. This was added pretty recently. You get a little UI that pops up basically telling you what your keys do, and the game is just going to pretty much guide you from this point on to walk and talk with Lesra.
You even cried out. Look there, the red sun will soon set, and we must be on our way. It's been a difficult journey. Only you have ever made it this far. Now let's press onward. We're almost there.
So we'll basically just go ahead and follow through with this intro. So what we're going to do from here is basically go ahead and jump to finishing up this intro. That way for new players they can walk through and experience it for the first time, just so they can kind of get a nice little introduction to the character Lesra, and she will have some relevance going forward. Alright, so once you finish the intro, you'll basically be greeted with this screen, letting you know there's currently the Sandcastle event going on for the next couple of days. So you basically get 2 options, Ancient Stone Chamber Starting Zone or the Mountain of Eternal Winter. Since this is a brand new account, I highly recommend starting with the Ancient Stone Chamber. The Mountain of Eternal Winter, basically, if you play through it, you can play through it with a brand new character, but you'll just basically get kind of a short story that kind of sums up the entirety of the story leading up to that point. It can be a bit faster, but for the new player experience, and my personal recommendation, you should start with Ancient Stone Chamber, just because it'll give you the vanilla experience of what Black Desert Online was. So we'll go ahead and start the adventure. Alright, so we're now back in the new zone, or the original zone I should say, and we'll be immediately greeted by our Black Spirit who has a quest for us. We basically start the adventure from here. So the first thing I would recommend is, let's zoom out. Since we are on a brand new account, this would be one of the first things I recommend, would be to press the escape key, go into settings, go to your general settings, and in here, we're going to go to Show and Hide. So, some things I like to recommend having is show family name in the adventure name settings. Don't show the character name. Family name it's a lot easier to find people via the family name. This is kind of optional. I personally like to have it off because I don't like having extra clutter on my screen. Plus, it's easy for me to look in my top left corner to see my health bar. I also had my character's name because, again, it's just more visual clutter. But let's see. A lot of this stuff is just kind of personal preference, but down. Let's see here. Alerts. Alerts is the big one. So basically, these little things that'll pop up in the center of your screen, you won't see as many since this is the novice only, but if you're on a regular server, then basically the top part of your screen right here is going to get flooded with notifications whenever someone achieves anything. And that's what all of this stuff is right here. So I go ahead and turn all this off because it just becomes too much. Turn off the wars, turn these off. I don't mind having the zone changes on, but again, they're kind of irrelevant. They don't really, unless you're trying to find a safe zone to change your skills. If you have a book of combat, then it can be helpful, but other than that, just keep it off. And then Black Spirit Quest, this is a good one to keep on. Pearl Item Suggestions, keep off, because that's just a way they try to sell to you. It's just a pain to deal with. Friends and guild members logins, I do like that. Alerts for guild missions, if you're like into that. I typically like to do a lot of the guild mission stuff. This alert, nearby strong monsters, it's just, this is not really a thing that applies much anymore. And pre-orders, so this is just a little alert that we have in the game now. So there's a pre-order system with basically whenever someone goes to register an item of a certain value, I believe the value is approximately over 10 billion silver, it goes into a queue. Then after 10 minutes it gets posted to the market. This just lets you know when someone posts it, not when the 10-minute window is up, but when it first gets listed. So then we'll hit apply, and we will no longer have any of those notifications. I would also recommend when you press, let's see, must have a family name to talk to the adventurers. So if you hit enter when you go to talk for the first time, this is going to go ahead and have you put in a family name. So we don't have a guild name yet, but this shows my character name, so now we need a family name. So let's see here. Then you just do like what you do with your character name, hit check, it is available. So then hit confirm, and now we have that family name. So you don't see it displayed over my head just because I don't want to have it showing, but once we have this little thing go by, then I'll show you where it appears on your character screen. Alright, so once that's up, now you see that we actually have a chat window that's pulled up, since we can actually talk to people now that we have our family name. And if you just hit P for your little shortcut, you'll have your character portrait, you'll have your character name and your family name, as well as some stats right here for you. So that's just an easy way to show it if you'd like to keep those things hidden like I do. So now what we're going to do is just talk with Black Spirit real quick. Let's see. They'll have an event quest up. Since we have an event up, only available. So we'll talk to him, and doesn't really have much to say. So if you're not interested in reading through a lot of the stuff that this game has in terms of lore, because there is like a lot of reading. So yeah, this is a event quest just for some items. So this was given away. This is worth getting because it's the equivalent to premium items that you would buy in the cash shop. And you can just go ahead and throw these on your character immediately. So there are costume effects, and that's what this is basically is it's one of the 8 pieces for having a full costume set effect. And then they also give you earrings, which has a higher grade chance for knowledge. So we'll talk about that a bit later, but for now, that's just 2 items you can get very quickly off the get-go, and then we'll go ahead and start the adventure. So, with starting the adventure, what we're going to be doing is going through the initial quest line that we have here. So we're going to be talking with these characters.
Now, I was hired to
and it's just going to be a lot of dialogue. That's what a lot of these quests are in the early game. There is voiceover now for a lot of these quests, but if you just want to run through them, you can press R. But you'll see we're basically starting here. We have a lot of the world, as you can see, to uncover. So we're just going to take this one step at a time, just going through the quest line. And if you'd ever like to see the quest lines that you're currently working on, if you just press O, it'll pull up your quest log. So this right here is what we're going to be going through. This is the quest line for the game, all the major regions that take you from Balenos, which is this first starting area that we're in, to basically the lands south of here, which is Serendia, and then you'll go to Calphion, which is out here towards the west, and then eventually to Medaya to the east. And eventually, your questing will take you throughout this entire game map. So we'll go ahead and start with running through these quest lines and getting ourselves to Western Guard Camp. Alright, so after doing a couple quests, you should now be up to how to get stronger in the quest line, which you'll see right here under Breaker of Chains. And this will now get you to Western Guard Camp, which will be the first little town / village that you actually visit. So once we're here, you've already had to do a couple of kill quests, so we'll go ahead and talk about some things you can do to go ahead and help out if you're noticing some things that you might not be too fond of. So if we just go back here into settings, and we go to general settings, right here on quality of life, certain classes, I recommend keeping the aim assist on. With Sage, it's definitely one of them, especially if you play Awakening, because it helps with certain skills, having them hit your targets consistently. There's also combat assistance, which assists with turning and movement for a lot of attacks. It will also have you automatically attack certain targets. So instead of you attacking what you see directly in front of you, you will turn and hit whatever is nearest to you. So I personally recommend turning this off, and I recommend keeping the simplified UI. It's very nice to have. And then just hit apply. And then now whenever you use your skills, you'll be able to use them where you're looking instead of having them be turned to the nearest mob for you. It's just something that's a bit more handy if you're a bit more experienced. So let's also go over some of the initial rewards that we've gotten. So we got a new offhand. We've gotten some healing potions, which we have in our first quick slot to be used. If you press the Y key, you will have your rewards. This is where you have a myriad of rewards for things like leveling up or being logged on for a certain period of time for events, and you basically collect them here. So let's see here, we have a loot scroll, so we'll claim that. We have a nice little bonus right here of some little items that'll help us out. Magic crystals that we can put in gear later and skill points for hitting level 10. So we'll need to select one of these. So let's do, what's this, training? Let's get fishing. Fishing is always a good life skill. And there's, right here you can see the completed ones. You can see what we have for events. So we have these that we can hit within a certain time period to level up, which we will eventually collect all of these. But if you'd like to see what you have coming your way as you level up, this is a way to view those. And these are, of course, time investment rewards, basically. Play for accumulated 50 hours, hundreds of hours, logging in or playing for X amount of days. And then you also have goals, so hitting 62, 63, 64, 65, you have these goals. Right here for seasons, hit 59, get a pen, 2-Vala ring, and 60, you get a pen, 2-Vala earring, which will help you out. And then just, of course, these bonus rewards as you level. So if you'd ever like to see those rewards, that's a good place for it. But from here, we're basically going to keep progressing with the story quest and eventually getting to Velia. Velia is basically sits right over in here. The map will clear up more as we explore, but at this point, our goal is to just keep moving ahead with the story quest and getting the gear that the game gives us. Let's see. One last additional thing to go ahead and do once we've come to Western Guard Camp is we'll go ahead and finish this quest up with him momentarily, but you'll notice these question marks that are on your mini-map, and the question marks are NPCs, and what you'll want to do is go up and talk to them. So this NPC hasn't appeared here yet, because we still have to do some quests for them to show up, but you'll want to talk to these NPCs to gain knowledge of them, and knowledge will help you gain more energy. Energy is tied heavily to the life skilling system in this game, so the more energy that you have, the better. You'll also want to just keep exploring while you're moving from place to place. As you explore the open world, it'll clear up a lot of this fog of war, and that'll also be added to your knowledge to help you gain more energy. So, while we've come up to this quest, this would be a good time to mention Crossroads. Crossroads are basically quests that have two branching pathways. It's just a way for you to personalize your experience going throughout the game. There's, to my understanding, not a big difference depending on which pathway you'd like to take, but if you're playing through Crossroads, it would be a good idea to keep track of which Crossroads you've played through, and then play through the opposite Crossroads on another character. That way you can gain more world knowledge for your the overall knowledge that you have on your account. And we'll talk a little bit more in depth about knowledge later and the purpose of it and what it'll do for you in this game. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and go with the No Greater Honor. When you click on it, it'll give you just a short little description of what this will go through. So we have two options here, help the princess or just listen to our Black Spirit. So we'll just go ahead and help her out and go from there. Alright, so now we've just defeated Red Nose and we are in Velia. Velia is the first major, it's almost city that you actually get to go to. It's a port town and it is one of the biggest hubs for your starting adventure. So when you first get to Velia, the first thing I would recommend is that you, outside of working on your quest, you go through and talk to every single person that you can here to build up your knowledge of the area. And then we're basically still going to keep focusing on the main quest line. The main quest line is pretty much going to be how we get a lot of our gear as a new account. And with what we're sitting at right now, these are basically, so we've got a premium costume now just from the login rewards, but we've got the Militia Talisman, the Elshkive, the Briar Helmet, and the Briar Armor. So this is about where you'll be sitting once you get to Velia, and you'll have a few other things. With this being a season character, one important thing to note is how to access your season rewards. So one way to do it is if you hit the inventory key, you will have the season pass and the Black Spirit safe. So when you click on the season pass, you will have this right here. These are basically the list of steps to take for achieving and completing your season pass. There's also the Black Spirits Pass, which adds additional items that you get. So the first thing you'll get is a classic outfit box, and then you'll get your very first maid. The maid system is invaluable, especially if you want to play the game long term. It helps a lot for going to far off areas, and it provides just a level of convenience that is hard to beat. The Black Spirit Pass is approximately $30 in USD, so kind of weigh that how you want. It gives you more than $30 worth of value for what the Spirit Pass offers, as well as offering you a myriad of additional items to help you enhance your season gear, which is what these items are. And we'll go over all of this stuff in detail once we've achieved full Tuvala gear to enhance. But it's definitely a big help. I personally recommend it, but it's not required, especially if you want to play this game spending as little money as possible. That'll also kind of be a bit of a side goal here for this, is we're going to basically look at the minimal amount of money needed to stay consistent and help us push for endgame. We're not going to look at buying costumes to tap for anything. Any costumes that we wind up picking up, we're going to try and buy off the central market. That way we just, keep the personal cost to a minimum and just maximize our playtime. So with that said, what we'll do here is we'll run around, we'll talk with all these NPCs, start getting some knowledge. We're going to continue the main quest line, and I believe we will pick back up once we start getting the Naru gear. So as we're going through the Balenos quest line, right here, something important for you to get is going to be a quest from Barney called Barney's Bluster. This is actually going to be the first pet that you get in the game and is worth getting. The reason why this pet is valuable, especially something to get and hopefully not skip over, is pets are basically how you gather loot automatically in the game, is through the pet system. So what you'll do with this being the first pet is you'll see it right here in your inventory. We're going to right click on it. So this shows us the appearance of the pet, and we have to give it a name. So obviously it's going to only be 3 to 16 characters long. These are our limitations, and it can only be, so numbers only and special characters aren't allowed. So we'll just give him a quick little name. So Bluster, and then you will register the pet. Once it's registered, you'll up here have the pet UI, and the pet UI basically shows you their feed level. When a pet's feed reaches 0%, they stop gathering for you. So you'll need to have feed in your inventory to make sure that they stay up to snuff on gathering items for you. Pets also come with special skills, and they also have tiers. So for skills, you basically have this pet provides 1% skill EXP whenever it's out. So right now the pet is currently stored. When the pet is out, we'll select right here, we'll hit take out. See how it gets a reddish color now, and it shows the applied talents, which is that 1%. So when a pet is out, you'll be able to see it. It's currently sitting right here at us with its name, Bluster. So the pet basically moving at normal. It has 3 modes. It has cautious, normal, and agile. You hit right RMB to change it per group, or you can hit left click to change it per the individual pet. The pet has 2 modes. It can either stay or follow, and then if it has a special ability, then you toggle this to turn on that special ability. And fetch, basically meaning whether or not it'll pick up loot for you. This will pretty much always be on. So the 3 stages that you have here will also dictate how quickly their hunger level goes down. So the higher the level, normal, and then agile, this will drain it the fastest. This will drain it very slowly. As of right now, you can leave the pet out and have it on cautious. That way they're not draining the feed as quickly. And we'll take a look at pets as we get more of them. But for right now, just know that you can have 5 pets out at a time, and pets have tiers. And in order to raise the tier of the pet, you will do what's called the pet exchange. Once we get more pets, we'll go ahead and look at the pet exchange system a little further and see how to raise the tiers of your pets. Alright, so here we are. We've just finished the Balenos storyline with our new account, and we are currently sitting on 19 AP, 19 DP from all the quest items and accessories we've been given. We have our first horse, which is a tier 5 that has sprint and instant excel that you'll get from the quest line as you're finishing up Balenos. So here we are now with Farewell Grusha, and then moving now to the next stage, which will take us to Heidel, which will be through Serendia, which is this region right here in the game map. So, with that said, we are level 23. We have collected the first few rewards of our season pass, making sure to collect this new adventure box and opening it through each level threshold that it gives us. We've got some extra skill points standing by right now for when we level up. And what we'll be doing is we're going to go ahead and liquidate these gold bars, get us some more money, and just keep moving forward with the story. We haven't hit the Naru set yet, but we will do an update as we play through Serendia and see if there's anything particular to point out once we're going through that. Alright, so here we are at the Heidel Gateway, moving on to the next stage of our lovely adventure. So from here we're just going to continue on with the Heidel storyline, go ahead and see what we can get. We should be able to start working on our Naru gear and start building our character up. We'll get some more levels along the way, just playing through the quest on this new account, and we'll see where that takes us with some more update videos. And as I just previously mentioned, we'll just make sure to point out anything in particular that sticks out. So with that said, I appreciate you guys watching. If y'all have any questions, concerns, or any tips about going forward, feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll be more than happy to read them and take everything into consideration. But I appreciate your time, and I will see you guys in the next video.